In April 2015, a man sat alone in a prison cell. 2 years earlier, he had a $40 million contract, a Super Bowl ring, a fiancée, and a newborn daughter named Avielle. He was 23 years old and widely considered the most complete tight end of his generation, a player coaches said would redefine the position for the next decade. Now he was convicted of murder. But here is what nobody tells you. The New England Patriots had documented warning signs about Aaron Hernandez long before the police ever knocked on his door. His college coaches flagged his behavior. NFL scouts wrote it in the reports. Team front offices discussed it in private meetings. And the league, the most powerful sports organization on the planet, kept signing the checks and looking the other direction. And when scientists later examined what was left of his brain, even the leading researchers in the field were stunned by the severity of what they found. This is not a simple crime story. This is a story about what football, unprocessed grief, and institutional silence can do to a human being, and the deeply uncomfortable question of who is actually responsible when everything collapses. Act 1. The boy who lost his whole world. Bristol, Connecticut, 2000. A 10-year-old boy is in his backyard throwing a football with his father. He is not just good, he is freakish. 6'2" by the time he is 14, hands like traps, speed that belongs on a wide receiver, not a tight end. His name is Aaron Joseph Hernandez. His father Dennis is a genuine legend in Bristol. Coaches youth football, runs his household with structure and discipline. The whole town knows him. Aaron's mother, Terry, works double shifts to make sure both Aaron and his older brother, DJ, have everything they need. Aaron worships Dennis completely, follows him to every practice, every game. His father is not just his parent, he is his entire identity, his compass, the reason he wakes up every morning and puts in the work. Then, January 6, 2006, Dennis Hernandez goes in for a routine hernia surgery. He is 49 years old, healthy, strong. No complications are expected. It is supposed to be a same-day procedure. He does not wake up. Aaron Hernandez is 16 years old, and in a single afternoon, the one person who gave his life structure, discipline, and direction is gone forever. No warning, no goodbye, just gone. What happens in the months immediately after matters enormously, because within weeks, his mother enters a new relationship. The dynamic of the home shifts overnight. The rules that Dennis enforced disappear. Aaron, a grieving teenager with no outlet and no language for what he is feeling, stops coming home. He starts running with a different crowd in Bristol. Older guys, harder, people who had already crossed lines that Aaron had never considered crossing. And in that world, there are guns. And there is a culture that mistakes loyalty for silence. Not one adult in a position of authority stepped in. Nobody caught him. And the trajectory of Aaron Hernandez's life shifted permanently in those months, before he ever played a single college snap, before any NFL team ever wrote his name on a contract. Act 2. The two Aaron Hernandezes. Florida, 2007. Urban Meyer recruits Aaron Hernandez to the University of Florida. He is the most naturally gifted tight end Meyer has seen in his entire coaching career. The potential is generational. But here's the thing about Aaron Hernandez that nobody in football wanted to say out loud. There were always two of him. The first Aaron was the one everyone wanted. Magnetic in the locker room, genuinely funny. The teammate who remembered everyone's birthday, who checked on rookies during training camp, who Brady said could read a defense better than any tight end he had ever played with. Coaches loved him, fans adored him, sponsors wanted his face on their products. The second Aaron existed in a completely separate compartment, one he had been building since he was 16 years old in Bristol. That Aaron maintained friendships with people involved in serious violence. That Aaron carried a weapon. That Aaron operated by a code of loyalty that had nothing to do with the NFL and everything to do with the streets he grew up navigating after his father died. The terrifying part is not that these two versions existed. The terrifying part is how completely he kept them apart. Teammates who spent years with him said they had no idea. Not a suspicion, not a rumor. The compartmentalization was total. A psychological wall so complete that the man throwing touchdown passes on Sunday and the man his Bristol associates knew on Friday might as well have been strangers to each other. Researchers who later studied his case described this kind of fracture as a survival mechanism. When a child loses their primary attachment figure before their identity fully forms, and then finds belonging in a world that demands silence and performance, the mind learns to split, to protect one world from contaminating the other. He fails multiple drug tests at Florida. He gets linked to a bar fight in Gainesville, where 2 men are shot. Faces no charges when a witness stops cooperating. The whispers follow him everywhere. Urban Meyer knows most of it. NFL scouts know. At least 4 team front offices have documented conversations about it. And yet, in 2010, the New England Patriots select him in the 4th round. Bill Belichick's franchise, the most structurally disciplined, analytically rigorous organization in the history of professional football. They commissioned their own background checks. They had access to the same police reports. They made a calculated decision. The talent was worth the gamble, and on the football field, they were not wrong. Aaron Hernandez in New England is extraordinary. The 2011 season, 910 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. He and Rob Gronkowski become the most unstoppable tight end combination the NFL has ever seen. Tom Brady publicly calls him one of the most gifted players he had ever thrown to. August 2012, the Patriots reward him with a 5-year, $40 million extension. He's 22 years old, a home in North Attleboro, a fiancée in Shayana Jenkins, a baby daughter on the way. And on the exact same day that contract is signed, the second Aaron is already making calls. Act 3. The night everything ended. June 17, 2013, 3:23 a.m. Odin Lloyd is found shot dead in an industrial park less than 1 mile from Aaron Hernandez's mansion in Massachusetts. 5 bullets, left alone in an empty field in the dark. Here is who Odin Lloyd actually was. He was 27 years old, a semi-professional football player with the Boston Bandits who worked a day job and showed up for every shift. His family described him as gentle, warm, and fiercely loyal. His sister Olivia told reporters that in the months before his death, Odin had been talking seriously about his future, his 5-year plan, his career goals, the life he was building. He had a mother who adored him, a community that knew his name, decades ahead of him. He was not involved in anything dangerous. He had done nothing wrong. He was dating the sister of Aaron Hernandez's own fiancé. He was practically family. Within 48 hours, investigators pulled surveillance footage from Aaron's own home security system, showing him leaving his property with Lloyd and 2 other men on the same night Lloyd was killed. His cameras, his house, his footage. He destroys his home surveillance hard drive, smashes his personal cell phone, hires a cleaning crew to scrub his house. At 6 a.m. on the same morning, Odin Lloyd's body is discovered in that field. These are not the panicked actions of someone in shock. These are deliberate, sequential decisions made across several calculated hours. 5 days later, the New England Patriots cut Aaron Hernandez before a single charge is filed, pull his jersey from every store, scrub his image from the official website, issue a 4-sentence press release, and move on to the next season. The organization that knowingly took the risk, collected 3 years of elite production, and built marketing campaigns around his name, erased him in a single afternoon. Act 4. Prison, silence, and what they found. April 15, 2015. Aaron Hernandez is found guilty of first-degree murder, sentenced to life in prison without any possibility of parole. He is 25 years old. What prison guards and fellow inmates described over the following 2 years is one of the strangest contradictions in this entire story. Aaron Hernandez in prison is calm, methodical, disciplined in a way he rarely seemed outside of it. He reads constantly, philosophy, theology, history. He writes letters to Aviel every week. He mentors younger inmates who are struggling. Multiple guards on record describe him as one of the most respectful, self-controlled men in the facility. And every single day, he still works out, running receiver routes in a concrete cell, catching imaginary passes thrown by a quarterback who is not there, alone. In 2017, he stands trial for a separate double murder, a drive-by shooting in Boston from 2012. The jury acquits him. his attorneys believe a genuine appeal on the Lloyd conviction is now within reach. April 19, 2017, 5 days after the acquittal, Aaron Hernandez is found dead in his cell at Souza Baranowski Correctional Center. He was 27 years old. On the floor beside him, a Bible open to John 3:16, a handwritten letter addressed to Aviel, age 3, and the sealed envelope for Shayana Jenkins. The full contents of both letters have never been released. Shayana has never publicly spoken about what hers said. Now here is the piece that reframes every single thing you just heard. Aaron's family donated his brain to Boston University's CTE Research Center. Dr. Ann McKee, among the most respected researchers in chronic traumatic encephalopathy in the world, personally examined the tissue. What they found was severe, beyond what anyone had anticipated. Aaron Hernandez had stage 3 CTE out of a possible 4 stages. At the time, the most advanced case ever recorded in a person his age in the history of their research program. His brain tissue showed neurological deterioration consistent with men in their late 60s who had sustained decades of repeated head trauma. Documented effects of stage 3 CTE include severely impaired judgment, explosive disproportionate rage, acute paranoia, extreme impulsivity, and a measurably reduced capacity to connect present actions to future consequences. He was 27 years old, and his brain was already severely and measurably deteriorating from the inside. Here is where this story demands that you hold 2 separate truths at the same time, without letting either one cancel the other out. Aaron Hernandez killed Odin Lloyd. That is not speculation. Odin Lloyd was 27 years old, with a family who loved him, a future he was actively building, and absolutely nothing to do with the world he had kept hidden. That truth cannot be softened. It cannot be reframed. Odin Lloyd deserved to live. And at the same time, the complete picture of who Aaron Hernandez was and why is far more complicated than any headline ever captured. A 16-year-old boy loses the only anchor in his life overnight and receives no support. He finds belonging in a world that demands silence. He is then recruited and handed a $40 million contract by an industry that had seen the file, read the reports, and decided the math still worked. While he is producing on that field, his brain is quietly deteriorating, and the league that profited from every snap would eventually pay over $1 billion in legal settlements over the very thing happening inside his skull. CTE may explain the fracture, it does not erase the choices. Aaron Hernandez made deliberate decisions that ended a man's life. That accountability does not dissolve. But explanation and excuse are not the same thing. And the question that never gets asked loudly enough is this: who failed Aaron Hernandez before Aaron Hernandez failed everyone else? The 2 versions of Aaron Hernandez could not coexist forever. Eventually, the wall between them collapsed, and when it did, one man lost everything. Another lost his life. The NFL collected the profit, absorbed the glory, and when the story became inconvenient, issued 4 sentences and moved on. Aaron Hernandez was not just a cautionary tale. He was a mirror, and what it reflects back about football, grief, identity, the psychology of compartmentalization, and the price of looking the other way is a question this league has never once been forced to fully answer.